kita lucky karena bisa found a partner yang lumayan beda banget itunya. Kesenangan dan keahliannya. I feel like I'm one of those people who has a lot of energy and yet kayak if I have to do it all on my own, I just can't imagine it. I like what I do and I don't want to do what you do.
Welcome to Work in Progress,
a podcast where we explore the meaning of work through real stories and point of views.
Hai, gue Pau.
Gue Tio.
And welcome to Work in Progress Podcast.
Teman-teman, hari ini kita kedatangan teman yang bekerja di restoran tapi sehari-harinya nggak bikin makanan.
Oke.
Jarang. Dia justru yang bikin kenapa orang mau balik ke restorannya. Asik.
Apa tuh?
Semuanya pokoknya. Mulai dari kursinya, ruangannya,
Iya.
suasananya.
Oke.
Gitu. Kalau kita kan
vibe. Kalau kata orang sana vibe.
Kalau kita kan perusak suasana.
Enggak, gue enggak. Enggak ngaku.
Dia perancang suasana. Kita langsung sambut aja Sasha Rosari.
Halo.
Hi guys,
Hai.
thanks for having me.
Thank you
you.
for coming to event.
Thank you.
Sebelum kita mulai, Sas, mungkin boleh sedikit kenalin dulu sama teman-teman yang dengerin. Who are you? What are you working right now? Apa termasuk dari mana gelas-gelas dan minuman yang kita hari ini nikmati?
Oke, namanya Sasha, aku itu furniture designer. Backgroundnya emang in product design, tapi sekarang also running a furniture design studio, tapi juga running a couple of F&B business. Untuk matcha latte yang kita minum hari ini, itu dari salah satu bisnis aku yang namanya Honu. Kita udah ada beberapa outlet, ada 4 tepatnya. Salah satunya yang lumayan deket sama lokasi tipping hari ini. Thank you for ordering. Kalau Maxi sih bukan dari aku ya.
Oke.
Kan lu mention gelas.
Oh betul.
Tapi isi gelasnya.
Tapi tidak menolak kalau Honu dalam waktu dekat juga merancang gelas ya.
Ya boleh kita coba pikirkan.
Menarik sih.
Menarik.
Iya.
Gue penasaran. Lo backgroundnya kan sebenarnya nggak ada hubungan ya.
Bukan.
Sama sekali sama hospitality.
Bukan.
Restoran termasuk hospitality lah ya.
Of course.
Lo technically is industrial design.
Correct. So I studied industrial design, which I think in Indonesia is product design, and I specialize in furniture. So I'm actually a furniture designer, I guess, by trade.
Oh, by trade bener-bener emang furnitur yang lo pelajarin.
Betul, ya. Waktu tahun ketiga gitu, kalau ambil product design boleh mencabang, maybe consumer goods, maybe systems and services. Some people go to automotive, cuman that's very difficult. I went into furniture, which I love. Desainin mobil F1 gitu.
Iya.
Oh iya, ada ya sekolahnya.
Ada.
Enggak sih, biasanya
Tapi
mobil
kayak kalau
normal sih,
mobil
mobil F1
normal,
susah.
Nggak F1. Di sini kayaknya lebih ke desain produk doang ya, generic doang gak sih kalau di sini?
That's a good question. I'm not sure kalau di Indonesia seperti apa kurikulumnya. Tapi kalau kita untuk di tahun, aku sekolah di Australia, tahun ketiga tuh lebih di specialize. Boleh mulai memilih gitu. And kebetulan banget dapat kerjanya emang langsung di bidang furniture sesudah lulus kuliah gitu.
Tapi kan furniture kan bisa di mana-mana ya. Maksud gue kayak furniture hospital, furniture rumah
Iya,
gitu
betul.
kan.
Commercial places.
Kenapa nyaplok ke hospitality, specifically
Oke.
restoran kali ya?
Jadi itu ceritanya waktu di Australia memang kerjanya di design and manufacturing studio yang kerjanya mendesain furniture secara per tahun keluarin range barulah kayak fashion gitu.
Oke.
Cuman pas pulang ke Indonesia, aku tuh dapat pekerjaan di hospitality group di Bali.
Oke.
Nah, hospitality group itu perlu in-house furniture designer untuk project-project mereka, mau buka hotel, restoran, bar. Itu tuh kalau beli yang jadi-jadi aja kan tampangnya jadi sama semua ya. Restoran it looks the same, it just doesn't have the right vibe. Jadi mereka perlu in-house designer yang bisa bantu menggodok desainnya supaya sesuai sama konsep yang mereka mau buat. Nah dari pengalamanku itu tuh ternyata wow, being part of kita bilangnya opening team ya, yang bantu develop a restaurant, hotel, and bar concept into reality itu ternyata seru banget ya. Dan sebenarnya tuh sebelum masuk ke sana pun gitu, waktu masih kuliah di Australia, kerjaan sambilan part time itu selalu tuh in hospitality karena itu yang paling gampang ya dapet. Jadi kayak waitressing lah, front of house, ice cream shop, you know. So I think the service industry has always been a part of me and it's something that I enjoy gitu. Jadi waktu udah mau buka bisnis sendiri, secara natural dan secara networking tanpa sengaja ya memang teman-temannya, klien-kliennya yang udah kenal dari
Di
F&B
situ, F&B
business.
business,
Dan
ya.
kebetulan kita juga kayak pengen deh coba bikin satu sendiri yang
Ya.
our own gitu. Jadi kita buka Honu itu untuk konsep pertama gitu.
Gue inget banget waktu itu di tahun itu kan lalu 2017 kan.
Yes.
Di tahun itu gue di Ampera tuh kantor gue.
Oh nice, deket.
Ya deket. Jadi commute gue tuh pasti lewat depan situ kan. Kayak ini apa nih rame banget. Terus gue cerita. Terus gue kesana dan ngantri. Jadi gue nunggu dulu. Tapi habis itu it has been my favorite sih.
thank
Place
you.
sama istri gue juga gitu.
Oh,
Kita makan di
nice.
situ. Dari situ terus terakhir pas di Bintaro juga kita makan yang di Bintaro waktu itu.
Thanks.
Ya gitu kan. Terus gue jadi penasarannya adalah kan tadi kan you've created this interest on hospitality gitu kan. Apakah itu memang emang satu hal yang udah jadi interest sebelum ngambil kerja pas di Australia pas kuliah, atau it just happens like that gitu, kayak karena gue udah kecemplung ternyata menarik gitu.
Iya, exactly what you said, organically ya. Dari kayaknya one thing led to another. Awal muasalnya kalau misalnya harus ditarik balik, bener-bener kepikiran gak pengen kerja di hospitality? Enggak, pas awal banget ya. Waktu waitressing aja tuh gak kepikiran juga selama high school or kuliah. Pengennya kerja retail lah ya, bersih gitu, jaga toko. Cuman kalau I think it has to be quite beautiful ya to be a retail assistant in Australia, and also and they prefer maybe residents. I was under student visa.
Sure.
With hospitality industry, they're very welcoming. Maybe because a lot of them are cash on hand. And turns out I enjoy. Emang I've always been quite an extrovert, so for me to be front of house, be waitressing and doing that part too, it's enjoyable. And transition into designing furniture for hospitality kan itu tidak sengaja juga ya, gitu. Ikut masuk hospitality group ini karena kan role tetap furniture design, so I didn't expect to be so involved. And then pas ngalaman itu kayak I have so much appreciation for those in the F&B industry and hospitality. It's like a performance each night, you know, or each day. Pas buka tuh semuanya sudah dipikirkan, the service, the ambience, the product itself, the creation of the food. So I was mesmerized at the whole process. And jadi pas udah nggak kerja di situ dan mau bikin bisnis sendiri, ada rasa kayak pengen deh coba bikin a little shop. Dan pada saat itu tahun 2016-17 tuh karena I was based in Bali, poke tuh, Honu kan kita jual poke ya, poke bowls is traditionally a Hawaiian dish. Itu tuh marinated raw fish dengan topping-topping kayak sayur-sayur, salad, bawahnya nasi. Itu pada saat itu tuh belum ada di Jakarta. Tapi pas di Bali tuh kayak di kafe-kafe menu-menu udah ada yang jual poke. Tapi nah pas tinggal di Bali kan sering tuh dikirim balik ke Jakarta buat proyek. Terus pas di Jakarta tiap kali lagi kerja nih ditanyain gitu kayak mau makan siang apa gitu. Terus pilihannya jujur
Lo nyariin?
Nggak ada ya?
Nggak ada ya, terus kayaknya kenapa ya kok makanan Indonesia predominantly gorengannya banyak ya gitu. Terus pada saat itu belum ada brand-brand yang kayak lebih healthy angle-nya. Itu 2016-17.
Iya belum sih.
Tahun itu nggak ada sih.
Persalatan belum muncul.
Belum,
Ya.
iya persalatan belum muncul. Terus jadi kayak ada niche nih in the market, and I talk to my now current partners gitu. Mereka juga bilang kayak di LA tuh poke udah wow banget sih. How come kok di sini nggak ada ya gitu. So my business partners yang kayak bilang why don't we make one? They're like we should make one here. Mengisi hal yang kita pengen tapi belum ada gitu sebenarnya awal muasalnya.
Which is itu menurut gue satu pertemuan yang mewah saat saat lu punya interest, saat lu punya kegusaran dan bertemu sama opportunity dan lu execute gitu. Apakah itu memang satu hal yang dicari dari awal with your partners atau kayak just happens like that gitu? Apakah itu misalnya kalau misalkan that particular discussion happened in 2019 I guess pas salah satu udah mulai apakah tetap ngelakuin Honu juga atau enggak?
Mungkin beda ya kalau misalnya terjadi di waktu yang berbeda karena semua yang terjadi sama Honu Group tuh benar-benar cukup organik kejadiannya. Kita awal muasalnya pas ngobrol bertiga, jadi aku tuh bisnis partnernya ada namanya Kevin sama Jenda. Kita tuh emang udah temenan, terus udah kepikiran pengen berbisnis together, tapi pada saat itu sempat kepikiran mau bikinnya matcha bar duluan nih. Jadi jualan matcha gitu. Tapi oke, matcha di tahun 2025 sih nge-boom banget ya. Tapi pada saat 2017 itu tuh kita berasa kayaknya belum ready deh marketnya gitu. Masih even waktu kita baru buka Honu aja jual matcha, banyak yang nanya matcha tuh apa sih gitu, beda ya sama Ocha ya gitu. Jadi pada saat
Iya
itu
Yang taunya soalnya yang gratisan.
yang bisa refill ya.
Iya.
Ya kayaknya waktu itu tuh kita berasa marketnya takutnya belum ready ya. Padahal kita bertiga tuh doyan matcha. Cuman kalau jualan matcha aja kok kayaknya kurang seru ya dan kurang aja gitu. Lalu pas lagi ngobrol soal poke ini ya why don't we like put it together, poke and matcha. Jadi jadilah Honu itu.
Tapi lo tadi bilang ide untuk kalian bisnis bareng itu kan sebenarnya udah lama. Gue nggak tahu nih kalian bertemannya udah seberapa lama sebelum that idea come up. Penasaran aja karena kemarin gue ngobrol sama Pau juga yang kayak pathnya Sasha tuh very partnership driven ya
sangat.
gitu. Kayak di luar dari yang tadi lo pernah kerja di Bali sendiri, what you've built has always been with your partners.
Correct,
Gitu.
yes.
Dan building something with partners itu kan gak gampang ya. Nemuin chemistry is one thing, nemuin ide yang bareng is another thing gitu. Nah pas lo ketemu si dua lucky guys ini, memang idenya kayak gitu dari awal, you guys become friends from the ideas, atau memang itu organically dari pertemanan jadi yang kayak ngebisnis bareng oke kali ya? Gitu.
If I have to remember ya, so Kevin and I have been friends sejak kuliah di Australia. Jenda baru kenal sebenarnya di Jakarta, tapi Kevin and Jenda knows each other from the bank, so their background is from the banking industry. And from mutual friends as well, and from hanging out. And memang pas awal muasal itu kalau nggak salah sih kita ngobrol gara-gara kayaknya Kevin yang punya ide mau bikin sandwich bisnis gitu.
Di sini?
Terus tadinya awalnya gitu. Terus his partner as in like his now wife kayaknya inget si Sasha kayak dulu juga suka di sandwichan gitu, coba tanyain aja tuh gitu. Terus abis itu ngobrol bareng, I'm thinking about doing this lalala, and also I think I wanna rope in this guy Jenda who's interested in doing business as well, blah blah blah. Terus kita ketemu aja, terus pas ketemu emang kayak I think we have the same type of mindset in terms of we like working. We're quite a workhorse, you know. We enjoy doing what we do.
Gue kira tadi kayak we like matcha, enggak we like work. Oke,
Sure. Sebenarnya mungkin it sounds really bad. We're not like workaholic or anything, but we just enjoy doing what we do. And untungnya pas ketemu tuh we all have our individual expertise kali ya mungkin bisa dibilang atau interest gitu yang nggak gitu coincides with one another. So in a way we have our own individual roles yang cukup jelas. So we respect each other's sort of decision making in their own fields. And but we're all quite reasonable as well. Jadi kalau perlu bahas sesuatu ada yang nggak setuju ya udah didengerin dulu aja gitu. Nggak luput dari obviously konflik juga ya, semua partnership pasti ada. Tapi kayaknya emang personality-nya quite reasonable dan selalu bisa diomongin aja gitu.
Lama gak sih Sas memutuskan untuk kayak oke deh coba deh sama nih orang berdua, atau kayak it was you didn't even have that moment to think about or to evaluate?
That's a good question. I can only answer from my point of view. They might feel differently. Tapi from my point of view, at the time I was much younger, I felt like I was very naive ya. Emang cara berpikir naif yang just wing it. We'll give it a go. Tapi itu mungkin personality aku sendiri ya, yang kurang terlalu mikir panjang gitu, kayak I'm just gonna try my best, you know. I've never nggak pernah punya bisnis sendiri sebelumnya. Waktu itu kan kerja sama orang terus pas bisnis pertama ini I got so lucky, and even my partner bilang kayak, wah kita sih lucky sih guys. I've heard from my friends gitu, partnership can be so tricky, gitu. And we happen to find a good chemistry lah with each other.
I've done this kind of partnership dulu juga pas belum jadi budak korporat ini. Nemuin partnernya itu cukup tricky, tapi saat klop ya klop aja gitu kan. Karena mungkin kita punya kesamaan cara berpikir, goalnya sama. Tapi to endure the partnership is the another level kan.
Another level ya.
Gitu kan. Dan gue waktu itu akhirnya ya we needed to end the partnership for some reasons. Cuman ya kita tetap jadi temen gitu kan. Nah gue jadi penasaran. I mean partnership kayak konflik dan segala macam itu kan pasti ada gitu kan. Apalagi kan kalau sekarang you're creating a group. Jadi ada multiple line of businesses gitu kan. So I just imagine the complexity of the conflicts gitu kan. So any secrets on enduring that dynamics?
So we've been together since 2017, which means now it's our 8th year ya. Dan sebelumnya kan kita sempat R&D like maybe a year gitu beforehand. Sebenarnya ya what we find to be helpful, we realign our values once in a while. We go out together as friends, not as business partners to talk it out gitu. Kayak realigning values meaning soalnya mungkin di tahun 1 dan di tahun kelima prioritas masing-masing dalam hidup masing-masing kan bisa berubah ya. Itu
stage of life-nya ganti ya?
Iya, stage of life-nya berubah dan sebenarnya kalau nggak diobrolin secara regularly takutnya udah melipir terlalu jauh gitu. Dan target-targetnya juga takutnya melipir jauh gitu. Nah itu ya kita obrolinnya tapi in a casual setting lah. Over dinner, over drinks gitu. So that everybody's a little bit more chill. Dan semakin dewasa ya untungnya kita lebih saling mudah ya mengerti satu sama lain dibanding waktu zaman dulu. I'm a bit of a hothead gitu to be honest, you know. So mungkin kayak quite the emotional one lah in compared to the other ones. So I don't get as triggered as much as I do. Tapi kayak yang tadi kembali lagi, we're all quite reasonable people. If there's an issue that one of us feels like kurang setuju banget despite kalah konsensus gitu kan. Kalau 3 selalu bisa 2 lawan 1 ya.
Gitu ya.
We would rehash it out again, you know, because it means a lot berarti buat that person to keep revisiting that personal issue or thought gitu yang perlu dibahas. Gitu. At least gitu ya so far ya. Dan yang tadi aku bilang kayak kita lucky karena bisa found a partner yang lumayan beda banget itunya. Kesenangan dan keahliannya. Jadi bisa handle bagian masing-masing ya. Like I like what I do and I don't want to do what you do.
I'm fine here.
Kayak thanks for the help but I don't really want to do what you're doing gitu.
Berarti lu di grup itu nge-handle selain daripada design of the furniture and the area, apa lagi?
So we need a creative head behind each brand kan. So that's pretty much me. Although we always discuss everything bareng-bareng. So we divided emang kayak gitu dari awalnya. Kalau marketing sama marketing sih kita bahasnya bersama ya gitu. Karena kayak kita nggak ada yang background marketing ya bertiga. Jadi kita bahas bareng-bareng gitu. And my role tuh karena gimana ya, furniture and construction and pre-opening is always a big load on my end. Ujung-ujungnya sebenarnya post-opening tuh operations yang berhubungan dengan with me lebih beratnya di maintenance. Okay, people sometimes forget with like F&B maintenance is a part of something that you need to account for juga ya gitu. Tapi other than that, I'm just a creative head and that's why it allows me to do my furniture business as well, because the furniture business actually came after we opened Honu. And again, this is to the being really grateful to my partners. Waktu itu I said like, hey guys, I actually have this dream to open up my own furniture studio. Are you guys in? Like, would you guys like to help me out? Gitu, because I know for sure like I don't really want to do it all by myself juga. Although aku sendiri yang mungkin paling dominan lah kalau di bisnis itu obviously gitu. karena ya itu ya my trade.
For sure.
Gitu.
Oke. Kenapa waktu itu gak takut?
Kenapa untuk sendiri? Dari awal emang aku bukan tipe orang yang tertarik ya kayak mengerjakan sesuatu sendiri gitu. Emang seneng aja dibantuin. Terus I can head it, as in like I can lead it, because obviously that's something yang I'm experienced and they don't have that experience.
Right.
But like there's so many aspects to the business like I couldn't understand, like from the HR point of view, from the finances point of view, and like I like that part of the business has been taken care and helped by somebody I trust. So I think creative people mungkin punya similar perspective or comments where I personally am most creative when my mind is idle. Jadi kalau nggak kepenuhan tuh keluar idenya jauh lebih lancar.
Jadi biar operasionalnya di handle someone else.
Correct. Yeah, I still manage the design studio as in like sebagai kayak head designer lah gitu. Tapi kan again there's so many things, there's so many aspects to the business.
Yeah.
That kalau if you have to load it all yourself, I personally just feel like it's gonna be stunting my creative process. Kalau boleh, can I just be the creative person?
Creative person.
Iya, gitu.
Yeah. Tapi gue relate-nya tuh bukan not only as creative, tapi juga as a dominant woman.
Oh gitu.
As a dominant woman, kadang-kadang justru first call-nya adalah I have to do it everything by myself.
Oh gitu.
Gitu. Jadi yang kayak I have my idea, I have kind of ideas on how to roll it out gitu. Tadi when you brought up that, gue tahu apa yang gue mau dan gue tahu gue mau fokus di sini aja. I'd rather do it with someone else. I think that's also a good reminder of sometimes yes, you can have idealism and yes, you can also have a group with you to realize that idealism.
I think so, yeah.
Jadi nggak harus semuanya sendiri.
Definitely.
Yeah. And in that way you can play your strength jadinya.
Yeah, it alleviates so much of your time. Like I feel like I'm one of those people who has a lot of energy and yet kayak if I have to do it all on my own, I just can't imagine it. Like we don't live in Mars or anything yang sehari 28 jam gitu. Rasanya 24 jam kayak udah keisinya lumayan penuh ya. Gimana?
Yeah. So share it with others will be beneficial. Yeah. That's a nice thought. Gue tertarik ngobrosin sedikit balik ke role lo di Honu. Because you mentioned your responsibility not only buat yang si furniture-nya dan maintenance, tapi the creative head is you. Tapi kan sebenarnya background lo kan product design. Correct me if I'm wrong, bahwa itu bukan something yang kreatif. Karena FYI brandnya pun Sasha yang bikinin.
Iya.
Ya kan? That includes like the creative of it, right? The designing the logo and everything like that gitu. How did you progressing to that? Emang lo udah ngulik design to begin with atau?
Well, waktu bom buka Honu tuh kan kita bener-bener hanya bertiga banget ya. Everything we do sendiri gitu. Including the brand designing, we didn't hire a brand designer or graphic designer. We just have to like ya udah deh kerjain sendiri aja gitu. So again it was my naivete and kind of like I'll just wing it, you know. Waktu kuliah kan juga diajarin ya basics pakai semua Adobe Creative Suites gitu. Iya kayaknya tuh kalau misalnya harus terpaksa pasti sebenarnya ada sih creativity yang bisa keluar gitu ya. Essentially what I thought now in hindsight ngelihat balik gitu, cara berpikir product designer sama hospitality itu sebenarnya nggak beda jauh. Jadi kalau misalnya itu aja nggak beda jauh, gimana brand sebagai ya like a graphic artist ya nggak terlalu beda jauh juga. What I'm trying to express is as a product designer you over consider what your user will need, how it feels ergonomically in their body, what is the function of the product itself, how can it meet those functions, how does it make the user feel or tactility of it kayak gimana, itu kan kita over consider for somebody else. Nah the thought process is exactly the same for hospitality ya. Jadi you over consider is this the type of food that people will enjoy, itu fondasinya dulu nih makanan gitu atau minuman or type of drink that will enjoy. Is the service the type of service that they will enjoy? Are they being greeted kindly? Are they being serviced with smiles? So we imagine the experience. So technically we're designing an experience. Nah it goes to the degree of like the ambience of the space. Obviously itu yang lebih malah deket sama ranah aku. Jadi kayak when you're designing a space, you imagine what the users will need as a product designer. Is it coziness? Is the lighting correct? The dimness? Is the level of the aircon correct? Is the type of bowls and dinnerwares that we set connects to the brand gitu. Jadi waktu bikin brand Honu sendiri, I adopted that same mentality. Jadi keluar brand secara logo and kayak identitasnya itu mudah because I learned this trick from when I was working in Australia. If you are to rebranding something, lagi branding exercise, sometimes it's good for you to imagine that brand as a person. What is the personality of this person? Nah dengan sendirinya tuh kayak mudah gitu keluar proses untuk mendesain kayak this logo, this look,
Color.
vibe,
Yeah.
kayak gitu kira-kira.
Oh.
The same thought process cuman diaplikasikan ke
Cuma kayak beda medianya atau
Betul.
beda output, cuman pada akhirnya kan ngedefine the whole experience-nya.
correct, ya.
Relate dengan kerjaan gue sebagai anak produk gitu ya.
Iya.
Gimana itu
Cuman,
Kak? Gimana?
Iya kita perlu bisa perlu bisa ngebayangin apa yang user kita bakal perceive.
Oke.
Betul.
Tapi yang gue selalu coba bawa adalah bukan UI-nya, bukan desain button segala macam, tapi lebih ke arah apa yang kita bisa bikin mereka tuh rasain. Gitu. Jadi
through the product.
Iya udah levelnya tuh bukan level gimana cara mereka menggunakannya, tapi apa yang bakal mereka rasain dari situ gitu ya, emotion partnya gitu kan.
Yeah.
That was actually my thesis in uni. Waktu kuliah tuh ngambil topiknya, ini kan masih awal-awal iPhone, mungkin baru seri nomor 2 atau mungkin pertama baru keluar. I graduated 2009 ya. 2009.
Was BlackBerry. iPhone 4.
Pokoknya
3S, kayaknya itu deh,
masih awal banget, either the first couple of series gitu. Jadi my thesis on emotional design was talking about how as a designer in my thesis I talked about how itu tuh tier tertinggi yang misalnya kalau fondasi dari kita sebagai product designer, does it meet the function? Itu dulu. Kamu create produk kalau fungsi yang mesti dia lakukan produk itu tidak do the job dan it doesn't work. Itu aja udah sebagai fondasi, the product fail. Kalau misalnya udah berhasil, tier selanjutnya adalah does it look good? As in like does it please aesthetically?
Estetik dulu ya?
Justru fungsi dulu. Fungsi.
Oh iya, maksud gue abis fungsi estetik dulu.
Estetik dulu, ya estetik tuh dan estetik tuh bukan hanya sedangkal kayak penampilan aja, tapi how it connects to, jadi
kayak interaksi bakal kayak gimana
betul
gitu ya.
Jadi kayak the usability of it, the interaction that goes with it, that goes with the second tier gitu. Nah, tapi again this is all according to me, according to my thesis. Nah, yang tier paling atas tuh about emotional design. Emotional design adalah sesuatu yang kayak kita sebagai desainer mustinya mikirin efek emosional apa yang terjadi di usernya itu. Mungkin usernya sendiri tidak menyadari mereka lagi merasakan hal itu thanks to the interaktivitas terhadap produk itu. Tapi kita sebagai desainer kita mikirin, nah pada saat 2009 itu mungkin baru beberapa company besar yang menerapkan cara-cara berpikir ini, salah satunya Apple gitu. Tapi sebenarnya udah banyak banget, like bagaimana mungkin pas nyalain komputernya ada bunyi semacam orchestral wave itu, it makes a person feel kayak the way certain expensive cars, the way the car door tutup ada bunyinya
bunyi
lebih halus,
gitu.
lebih halus itu somebody spend their time to think about that. Nah itu sebagai designer I think we should think about that. Nah jadinya emang secara natural when I design my furniture, when I design my restaurant or like a concept gitu, itu emang selalu in the back of my mind how will the user or the consumer feel about whatever the creative output that we created gitu.
Tapi it says a lot about your level of thinking sih menurut gue. I'm trying to sense dari tadi kan lo bisa relate ke designing experience, lo bisa relate juga di role lo tentang designing experience. Gue HR gitu, sebenarnya paling gak ngambung nih dari semuanya.
Tapi kan lo juga masih build designing experience.
Gue exactly my title adalah people experience, jadi technically gue adalah designing people experience.
Correct, yes.
Gitu.
Correct.
Dan menurut gue kalau gue yang kita yang cross industry and cross role aja bisa relate to your framework atau your level of thinking. Imagine orang yang cuman shifting dari one role dan another gitu. What I'm trying to say here adalah mungkin ini juga muncul sih di beberapa episode kita yang lain gitu. Kadang-kadang shiftingnya tuh memang susah untuk dibayangkan kalau lo ngelihatnya itu dari role
Betul.
base.
Betul.
Tapi kalau lo lihatnya dari
Mindset.
base atau kayak pola pikir ya, akan lebih gampang untuk lo imagining the kind of things that you can do
For sure.
Yeah.
for your work.
Yeah.
Gitu. Kayak you wouldn't imagine you can cross to branding
Yeah.
dengan latar kayak gitu kan.
In saying that, I mean like it's not my favorite type of work. And you know,
Really?
you can have like more, different types of adalah favoritism lah.
Ada
gitu.
lah pasti.
Iya.
pasti.
Kayak kalau F&B tuh I do have the passion. I have to be honest gitu, karena otherwise people will not be choosing to be in the service industry unless they are quite passionate about it. It's servitude kan, gitu.
benar.
Quite humbling the whole experience. And tough, very tough. Tapi kalau misalnya essentially ya susah ya, ada bias. Favorite is always being a designer. I love designing furniture gitu. Emang udah pilihan gitu loh soalnya. Kalau yang lain kan it came to me organically.
Yeah. So you're saying mindset is one thing tapi without the genuine interest,
It's tough
it's kind of tough.
Yeah. Mungkin mesti ada ya. I mean, who to say, maybe in the future I might nyebrangnya jauh lebih jauh. We don't know.
Betul. Your interest shift.
Yeah, I don't really like to close off myself to whatever opportunity comes. Tapi so far sih memang role yang sekarang itu comes with natural transition gitu.
Iya. Itu kalau misalkan kita coba tarik lagi nih ke dunia korporat gitu ya. Corpo life kalau kata teman gue yang masih Gen Z itu. Saat lu ngejalanin role-nya pun lu juga perlu tahu atau lu perlu bisa bikin framework tadi gitu. The way of thinking, tahu. Mungkin kan gini, kalau on designing product there are so much detail, ya kan? Pasti ada detail. Kan tadi kata kuncinya adalah over considering the experience yang mungkin usernya pun atau customernya pun nggak ngerasa itu kepikiran atau even sebenarnya itu soal kita rekayasa. Kita udah engineering that kind of experience, cuman dia nggak ngeh kan.
They don't have to.
Udah semeticulous itu gitu kan. Tapi kalau lu nggak punya jam terbangnya yang cukup atau lu nggak punya framework yang membantu just to begin with, there's so much detail yang lu harus consider di timing yang salah. Nah, in that case itu akan menyusahkan kerjaannya dia gitu kan, di kerjaan kita. Jadi balik lagi ke dunia kerjaan yang mungkin 9 to 5, you need to have that kind of formula to at least to survive the day. Tapi kalau lu bisa thriving on whatever you're doing, I think that will help your career juga gitu.
Definitely.
I think just to to create the bridge between the creative industry with the corpo life gitu kan.
Yang sering dikira tidak kreatif ini.
Sangat kreatif kalau I can imagine.
Ya gitu.
Gua mau shifting a bit on work. Karena tadi lo mention lo dan partner-partner lo is a workaholic. Workhorse.
Yeah.
Workhorse, and you specifically said it's not like we're workaholic or anything. As if there is a negative connotation there gitu. Tapi kayak knowing lo saat ini kayak admittingly lo bilang bahwa gue suka. Dan thankfully lo punya privilege bahwa lo enjoy kerjaan lo gitu.
Betul.
How would you describe your relationship with work? What is work sih buat lo? Seseorang yang memang enjoy doing a lot of stuff, has a lot of energy, love what you're doing, gitu. Kayak how do you see work? Or you don't even define it as work?
I don't really define it as work. That's exactly correct. Like sometimes when people say vocation, it feels a little bit more correct gitu for me. It just feels like a gimana ya? Like a not choice.
Apa ya vocation bahasa Indonesia ya?
Iya. Apa ya vocation tuh?
Vokasi.
Oh iya.
Gak ada kata yang.
Bener ya?
Walaupun gue juga gak bingung kata yang lebih
turunannya apa ya?
Iya betul.
Apa ya?
But like you know how like the concept of ikigai, the Japanese ikigai. I don't try to be grand about my purpose in life or anything like that, and I don't associate ikigai necessarily with pekerjaan sebenarnya gitu. Tapi kalau mesti, karena kan banyak orang associate ikigai with pekerjaan gitu ya. As simple as misalnya Do I like what I do? Yes. Terus am I good at what I do? Boleh good enough lah sampai
Yes.
ada kayak orang bisa mau
Pay
take
for
on
it.
pay for it, take on my service. Does the world need my service? Ya so far sih kayaknya either bikin restoran atau bikin furniture masih ada perlu-perlunya
Yeah.
lah gitu.
Yeah.
Jadi
Yeah.
yes, the world need my service even if it's a little. And can the world value my service? I think so gitu. Maksudnya ada aja yang bisa value whatever we created, whether it's the restaurant or the furniture we create. So even as simple as that, ya udah berasa content gitu, very penuh. So if the question is what is work for me, it's really difficult to define because gimana ya? It's just part of my life aja. Nggak karena especially once udah jadi wira swasta tuh the lines are very blurry. Sometimes when you network, is it considered as working or not gitu. Kayak when you have meals in the restaurant and saying hi to friends, but you kind of like making sure they're happy.
Yeah.
Is that considered work or not? You
Yeah.
know, hosting a little bit
Yeah.
or that sort of thing.
Ya, atau bahkan in your konteks karena di hospitality tadi kan bawa contohnya kan misalkan lagi lunch gitu kan.
Yeah.
Then you come to this new place, you have that lunch. Are you doing a research? Are you doing just lunch? Karena I mean karena kalau gue coba lihat kan gue background gue produk digital gitu
Yeah.
kan. Pas gue nyobain apps orang,
Yeah.
apakah gue nyobain buat gue atau gue sekalian gue nyari
Mikir buat
inspirasi,
kerjaan.
mikir buat
Ya.
kerjaan.
Secara tidak langsung ya the creative brain cannot be turned off ya.
Yeah.
Secara tidak langsung gitu. At least it is for me. Tapi I don't hate it gitu. I don't hate
Yeah.
the state
Yeah.
that it's on idle constant. Gimana ya? Idly active. Idle tapi aktif gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya holiday itu that's the best part. That's the best part. Cause like you gain inspiration just walking down the street and
Yes.
looking at how a particular tree bend a certain way and then kind of like, oh, that could be a really cool detail for a chair or like, you know, yeah, you know, or like, oh, when as you said, when you're dining out and sometimes I'm like, man, what a really nice spoon. And then dibalik itu brandnya apa sih gitu kayak nggak penting gitu, cuman kayak it's a really nice spoon. Kayak terus also I like to dine out with my partner sometimes ya gitu. Kalau misalnya karena kita ujung-ujungnya di F&B kan saling kenal-kenal juga, jadi suka kayak yuk cobain itu gitu, support brand teman atau apa gitu. Jadi kita berempat punya angle yang berbeda. Oh ini jadi ngomong berempat gara-gara recently I open a new restaurant juga kan, it's a Thai restaurant and we have a new partner yang emang chef. The chef is our partner and jadi kita berempat kalau makan bareng tuh kayak perspektifnya, oh man, the way they cook this chicken, bisa di chef ngomong gitu kayak, I'll be like, oh such a nice spoon gitu. And then my
Semua ngomongin mastery masing-masing ya.
Iya, terus kayak, oh I like the way how they greet us earlier and the bookings that they WhatsApp message kayak so nice, and the other will be like, wow, they managed to full capacity at lunch hour. Berarti they're probably making this and this and this. You know, so we think in our different ways, tapi it doesn't feel like work because it's just like a random blurb of thought in our heads yang. Can it inspire us? Maybe. Is it just a passing thought? Could be gitu. So it doesn't have to be defined whether it's usable work thought or not.
Tapi itu a new way of blurring work and life sih menurut gua. Karena dari kemarin juga pembahasan kita kayak should it be split it, should it be blurry between work and life dan segala macamnya. Dan ada orang yang sudah makin kesini kayak makin orang makin comfortable untuk bilang bahwa it's blurry. Tapi the way they blur it juga in different ways gitu. Ada yang ngeblurnya karena tuntutan. Kayak misalnya kemarin kita sempat ngobrol yang kayak ya karena partnernya again family based atau friends based. So ya setupnya udah kayak gitu yuk. Jadi blurry in a way gitu. You is a different kind menurut gue. You blur it just because simply you don't see any distinction. You don't want to see any distinction in a way. Makanya lo kesusahan untuk mendefinisikan work juga. Because for you it's just an act of creating. Gitu. Jadi kayak menurut gue that's a nice color yang gue personally intrigued to try gitu. Jangan kayak ya udah this whole thing is just me gitu. Gue nggak harus mengotak-ngotakkan apapun di situ. Gitu.
Perhaps it's easier when you're an entrepreneur and doing your own business. Tapi obviously, I remember when I moved from studio, maksudnya design studio to corporate. Tapi corporate-nya juga hospitality, so a bit different to now working on my own. Memang I do remember the distinction is way more pronounced ya waktu dulu kerja buat corporate ataupun studio. Tapi waktu studio itu I work in Australia and I understand now after contrasting working in Indonesia and working in Australia how a lot of Indonesians has this. It used to annoy me, has this comment like Australians are kind of lazy. I'm like, no, we just like chilling, man. Like, yeah, it's different. We appreciate chill. It's different. Tapi memang gimana ya? Cara orang bekerja pun di corporate di Australia mungkin emang lebih quote unquote santai in comparison to here gitu, dan the hierarchy feel is a bit different also ya. There's a closeness with your seniors that maybe lebih mudah gitu mungkin di sana, mungkin ya, at least from my perspective.
Ya, jadi itu juga jadi play a role on how willing they take on the perspective of work life.
Correct.
Combination in a way.
Benar.
Gitu.
Yeah.
Structure plays a role, man.
Secara tidak
HR people.
No,
Yes.
culture juga.
Ya budaya
Iya
juga
kan,
sih.
budaya kan, maksudnya.
Iya, benar. Gak hanya kerjaan gue lagi.
Iya benar.
Gitu. Oke. Oh, that's a nice view of work. I like that. Gue mau mencoba itu.
Ya, menurut gue yang menarik tadi sih, itu tidak terlihat blurry karena there's no, nggak dipisah gitu.
Ya.
Jadi nggak blurry.
Nggak blurry. Walaupun tadi lo pernah kerja di corporate world dan segala macamnya, I think tanpa sadar you take on that definition and you erase it in a way, gitu, in your idle mind.
In my idle mind, yeah. Tapi don't get me wrong, there are obviously periods in my life where that comes with minuses as well. When you really enjoy what you do and it's kind of blurry, sometimes the pause button is harder to hit gitu. Jadinya memang the burnout comes in a different surprising manner. Kalau mungkin di waktu kerja corporate gitu, it's so obvious like the cause and effect. Whereas in comparison to when you're working for yourself, the kerelaan kan datang dengan sendirinya ya, karena it's for yourself, right? You're working on your brand, you're working on your company, so the sacrifice itu kesannya kayak lebih justified gitu. Although sebenarnya maybe the body cannot handle it either.
Ya. Apalagi kalau jadi workhorse ya.
Yes. betul.
Susah berhenti.
Yes. Nggak tahu kapan nge-postnya.
Yes.
Last question.
Oke.
Kita selalu belajar bareng di WIP Podcast. Just curious. Apa yang hari ini di pembelajaran kita yang resonate most with you, or you got validated even more, or you one thing that you learn new out of our conversations? Kayak ternyata. Yeah, I guess what you were saying earlier about the experience of HR now is considered as people experience, designing people experience ya. I think even ada sebutan termnya sekarang apa sih, kayak bukan community apa ya, people manager. People manager, whatever, yeah. Jadi intinya kayak you just the flow of people gitu. The circulation and flow of people. And sebenarnya mau dari bidang apa aja tuh ya, there's an underlying same type of mentality that comes with any job gitu. Kayaknya it just transition continuously aja sih. What I think ya gitu. Cause sometimes a lot of people maybe realize that if they chose a vocation, that has to be like their defining chosen role gitu for their career. But it just feels like after talking to you guys, it's validating to see that sebenarnya even for corporates, the shifting of department, shifting of roles within a corporate setup itu juga sesuatu yang sebenarnya comes so naturally gitu. And maybe I didn't think would be common in the corporate world, but maybe it is. I see. So maybe corporate world is not that saklek juga.
Nice.
Iya.
There is a flow in it.
Iya gak sih?
Iya,
juga.
there's
Yeah.
a flow, there's a creativity. Cuman
Yeah.
mungkin orang apa ya, udah nggak duluan gitu.
Bener, dan back to your point, kayak culture-nya emang udah begitu aja. Jadi it's hard for us to acknowledge the fluidity in corporate.
But the culture is coming from ourselves kan.
Betul.
Jadi tidak perlu menyalahkan culture.
Betul.
Itu gue selamatkan di situ.
Iya.
Iya. Dan you need to build your own.
Culture.
Iya.
Is it the reluctance to try or the hesitation
Mungkin
for?
ya.
Oh, okay.
Dia hesitate sih ya.
Hesitate,
Lebih ke
definitely hesitate.
hesitate,
Dan
karena
udah comfortable aja saat ini.
Okay, yeah. Stagnation just something that
It's
is
hard to break.
for me it's my least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Stagnan tuh atau kalau waktu itu aku bilangnya plateau. But plateau I realized talking to a bunch of people may be the wrong term ya, because plateau kind of feels as if that a career is something you climb.
Iya.
But it's not. It's
Oh.
not. Kayak plateau tuh kesannya kayak you're too udah kecapean manjat, tapi kecapean untuk lanjut, tapi kayak udah terlalu sayang untuk turun lagi, coba something
di situ
else.
aja.
Di situ aja.
Plateau dulu deh. Nah itu plateau tuh kayak kesannya kayak karir sesuatu yang harus dipanjat, tapi sebenarnya bukan gitu. Tapi jadi so that's why I kind of said stagnan instead. Like,
Yeah.
stagnation is something that for me malah is the opposite of what I want.
Iya. Another thing menurut gue kenapa stagnan itu karena mungkin orang menyalah asosiasikan rutinitas dengan stagnansi.
Oh gitu ya?
Iya, kan misalkan 9 to 5, daily commute, daily traffic, kerjaannya udah kebayang gitu-gitu aja. That kind of falsely creating a mindset of stagnan gitu. Menurut
You're
gue
stuck
ya.
in it.
Iya, kayak lu ngerasa stuck dengan karena rutin lu. Padahal sebenarnya rutin itu nggak harus stagnan.
Nggak ada, iya.
Ya kan, ya you can be creative by your routines as well. Dan
Yeah.
mungkin lu
Yeah.
untuk dapetin that kind of atau that level of creativity, you need the routines.
Ya bisa juga.
Atau you need the habit.
Ya.
Kayak misalkan nih, kayak yang tadi lu share, untuk lu bisa kreatif, you need to be idle. Bisa lewat liburan atau just to manage the workload. Tapi kan itu lebih ke arah formula lu untuk stay kreatif
Yeah.
gitu. Nah, menurut gue itu juga satu hal.
Ntar people in corporate will, so boss, I have to be like idle supaya I can like churn out creative work. Kayaknya I'll be
Enggak
like
juga deh.
menghasut hal yang salah nih.
I'll be late for 5 hours because we need to work on our routine, boss. Gitu.
Yeah. Bengong is my routine gitu. What to do now?
Oh, enggak, the word that I'm ini nih ritual.
Ritual.
Gue harus bengong ada ritual gue. Kayak enggak gitu ya.
Iya.
Nggak gitu ya.
Okay, yeah, changing your ritual can be the first practice that you try
Yep.
and to kind of shake up things. Yeah.
Oleh
Sas,
karena itu,
thank you banget.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Semoga ada something yang we gain a lot.
Yeah.
I hope you gain a lot as well.
Yeah, I hope somewhat helpful what I have to say. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Of course it is. Nah, semoga teman-teman yang dengerin juga ngerasa ada something yang di take out today. And if you think of anything else yang mau ditambahin juga, feel free to comment below.
Oke,
Ya,
komen
di
below.
bawah. Below di bawah ini. Atau siapapun yang mau kalian undang.
Bisa ngide juga siapa yang mau diundang.
Ya. Sekaligus kontak informasinya,
Bener.
emailnya, dan ya PA-nya siapapun yang bisa kita ketemuin kalau kalian mau ngundang orang itu ke WIP Podcast.
Oke, on that note, on that ritual as well.
Kan
Kan ini ritual closing kan?
Ritual closing
gitu.
yang Pau masih latihan.
Betul, kita kan karena kita selalu progressing ya.
Oh, siap.
Selalu.
Like the podcast.
On that note kita sudahi aja episode ini. Sampai ketemu di episode berikutnya. Dadah. Bye.